Hey guys, Colby here, back with Watcher of Realms. I wanted to give you guys some quick tips on why you are running out of gold and you're upgrading the wrong gear. This is all part of progressing into, I would say, the later part of the game, not the end game, all right? Is you have to be very careful with your gold. It's difficult to farm gold. You can go over in the gold raid and just spend thousands of energy and get millions of gold. Yeah, you might think that is the correct decision, but it's the number one mistake players are making, and it's frustrating for them because they see, oh, I have all of this gold but no gear, and for whatever reason they think that is somehow, a part of the game. But actually, farming the gold rift, the gold raid, is one of the biggest traps, I would say, for newer players. The reason for this is you'll have to go through and farm thousands upon thousands upon thousands of runs or energy every single time you consider, all right, do I need an upgrade for my heroes? And what you need to consider is the only way for you to be picking up gold from a point onwards, I would say from a point you can only farm mythics and onwards, would be just go into gear raid 1, 2, or 3 and just start farming gear and then sell them. That is the first tip, the big tip of the video. And of course, deciding which items to sell is also a big part. There's many traps out there in terms of what items are good or not, and the biggest trap is keeping items with a flat stat on the top. And I'm talking about the rings, bangles, and amulets. That is where the flat stats on the top are. And what those can be is either attack, defense, or health. If those are flat, please do not consider keeping them. And with healing effect or rage regen, you don't need to have so many of those. Maybe you can have a couple of those, but at the time being, the meta doesn't seem to be keeping those items and equipping them on your heroes. You're still looking for lots of damage and, most importantly, health percent for the majority of heroes, and sometimes maybe one ring, amulet, or banner with maybe a healing effect on there if you want to boost your healing effect to the hundreds. I would say 100 is okay. 150 I've tried, doesn't look like it makes so much of a difference. So let's get started. I only have 23 items. I'll go very quickly in selling these. This was about 500 energy. I'll pick up, I'm gonna imagine, what, 23 items times 6,000. I'll pick a good chunk of gold if I sell everything, but maybe one good pieces out of all of these. All right, I've managed to farm one. And you see all these thumbs up, that is another big trap. Although they fixed the algorithm on how that is calculated, it's still kind of a trap. You don't keep them automatically. So let's get started. This one's got healing effect. Immediately, I don't care about it because the set is bad and the stats here are also bad. Like, if I wanted this as an offset piece, this must have had at least HP bonus, I would say, in the first 3 stats for me to consider it. So moving on forward, flat attack there, flat defense, attack bonus. This might look good for you guys, but it's got crit rate there, which is what I like. I like crit rate in the first 3 rows of stats, but it only has flat attack at the end. And flat attack for me here in an item, I consider it as like half a stat. I've mentioned it in the past. It's like half a stat for me, attack. Even attack speed is kind of half a stat. If it had crit bonus in one of the 3 plus the crit rate, I would have held this. So let's continue. Crit damage, no crit rate here, so I have to sell this. Attack bonus, this is alright. It has a thumbs up arrow, but does it have crit rate? No, it only has rage regen and flat attack. I could consider this maybe for something like a Dolores, but this is not one of the sets that Dolores needs. In Gear Raid 3, you don't farm that. You would have to go into the Gear Raid 2 to farm it. So immediately moving on to the next one. This one does have crit rate, but it's in the end right there. It does have attack and rage regen, which are alright. I consider them like, if attack is half a stat, rage regen is like 0.3 of a stat that I'm looking for, right? You don't always need it. Sometimes you'll need HP bonus maybe to keep you a little bit healthy. So attack flat on the top there. Defense bonus. There's no defense heroes at the moment. It's very hard for me to pick one. Anyway, if there was, I think there's one in the Forerunner server. So moving on, defense bonus here. HP bonus, this looks okay. I mean, HP bonus is something that you need, but is it a set that you're gonna equip a tank or maybe a healer with? No. So moving on, HP bonus. Same thing, even healing effect here is on the end. Then attack bonus, this one. Again, a thumbs up, but again, a trap. Crit damage, no crit rate. Moving forward, flat attack, defense bonus, very similar to what I've mentioned before. Rage regen, I don't need rage regen. HP bonus, this has, look at this. Crit damage, attack bonus, attack speed. you're not going to need those. There's only a couple of heroes who can do some damage based on their health. And to name them, it's, I think, Deimos and that other guy. Forgot him. He's like an epic, but I haven't played around so much with him with HP bonus. But it's two of them for sure. And yeah, this is not good for them. You would still need crit rate. So moving on forward, HP flat, attack bonus. Look at this, crit damage, no crit rate. Moving on, attack bonus, HP, attack bonus, no crit rate, HP. Attack speed, this could be nice. I mean, for some sets, you might need some attack speed. Like usually it's gonna be an amulet, but there's no crit rate here, so I would be sacrificing a lot of stats for this one. So immediately moving forward, flat attack, HP bonus, look at this, HP bonus, crit damage, attack speed, attack, rage regen. Very solid stats, but it's an HP bonus there. So unfortunately I have to sell it. Even if it was attack percent here on the top, I would still consider selling it because of no crit rate. Remember, you got 5 slots of gear to get perfect stats. You're looking for crit rate in every single piece of gear that you will be equipping, unless the hero specifically has a way to boost his own crit rate. And an example of that is Setram, where he can boost his own crit rate with every attack that he does. So if he's doing multiple hits, he's slowly boosting that up to 100%. So you can go about using 80% on him. So moving forward, nothing. And out of all of this, look at this, 23 items, I will sell every single one of them for 212,000 gold. And you might consider that this is like a big waste, but it is the reality, right? I farmed another 30 runs before this, and then I managed to pick up some ancient gear from that, and I sold everything else. But the ancient gear usually has stats that you're looking for. So this is how you need to go about selling your gear. You need to be very, very careful and very strict on when you're farming. And you'll see that you consider like farming 1,000, 2,000 energy like a lot, but in reality it's not a lot when you consider the price of energy in the game. So price of energy in the game is just 60 gems for 200. So if you wanted to farm, look at this, 2,000 energy is only 600 gems. So 2,000 energy can potentially give you what? 2,200 is exactly 100 runs on gear rate 319 as an example. So 100 runs could potentially give you 1 or 2 good items from that for only 660 gems, which is less than a 10 pull of, you know, trying to get lucky with summons. So you sacrifice, all right, do I want to get lucky and get a hero, or do I want to get some good pieces of gear? And you've seen videos by other creators as well in the past where they post showcases of epics clearing some of the hardest content in the game, but with the best gear, right? So if you don't have the heroes, but you have the gear, right, the legendary heroes, but you have the gear, you can use epics and still beat the content. So definitely consider not using up all your gems every single time for summons, and keeping some of it at least for, you know, lots of runs. And look at this, I can sacrifice 1,800 and get 6,000 energy and just mindlessly farm for the remaining. And in the recent Oracle's trial, guys, I got rank 1 because I was spending a lot of time farming over and over with 20,000 points there, right? And the reason was it's a good chance for me to also pick up these rewards at the end and farm gear rate 1, which was something that I was lacking with in terms of gear. And the amount of gear that I have is not good. I've farmed thousands upon thousands of energy so far and have still not you know, complete sets from these sets. The Infernal Roar as an example, I don't have a complete set yet, but I do have farmed some ancient gear already. I have some good substats, and I'm just slowly progressing through. I consider myself as late game, kind of late game, right? Don't consider myself completely late game, not end game. End game would be if I could farm the 21s and if I could do 50k on the Nightmare 4, which I cannot do yet. I can barely do less than half of that. So 22k is what I've done today. So you need lots of gear, and I've only have 469 pieces, and every single piece that I keep, I upgrade. If I don't upgrade it, it means I sell it. And if I click here, hide enhanced, you'll see that I have barely any items here, and hide equipment, barely any items here worth considering. All right. And some of these I just keep because of the set, which is this one, the invigoration sets. I'm slowly working on getting some of those. So I'm just using bad substats on those because it's a very specific set and requirements. So it's very simple. I'll show you a couple of items that I've been keeping, right? Let me show you some items that I've been keeping. Let's say attack bonus. What am I looking for an attack bonus? All right, let's see. Attack bonus. I'm looking for crit rate on the first 3 rows, and this one had attack and attack speed, so I thought I might roll this. This probably was around the earlier times I had gear. Same thing with this one. Look at this. Attack, crit damage, crit rate, attack speed. I rolled it because it had 4 stats in there. It rolled bad, if I'm being honest here, which is why I don't have it on my main heroes that I use for the guild boss. I have it on my B and C teams with Brienne there. I barely use her at the moment, although she's great for gear rate 3 and progression. Then another good example of this, attack bonus. Look at this. Crit rate, crit damage is what you're looking for. Most cases, you're going to need 2 stats as somebody who's progressing into the mid to late game. You're going to need 2 stats. You're looking for 3 stats when you want to get to late game. And end game is 4 stats, which is kind of impossible to get with good rolls as well. Even the ancient gears that drop don't have 4 stats. So this one again, crit rate, attack, HP bonus, attack speed. So it rolled well on the first 2. And then I went ahead and maxed it out to get the attack speed as well. Same thing with this one. Look at this, attack speed, attack, and defense bonus. But because it rolled very well, I went ahead and rolled and gambled, you know, 500,000 or so of gold to get crit rate, and that rolled well for me, which is above the 20%. If anything is less than 20%, it's kind of a bad roll, and you'll need to cover that through other pieces of gear that might have like 22%. So you can have one with 17%, stuff like that. You don't need to have 100% crit rate in this game, but it's good to be very close to it, just so you don't have any RNG issues with specific dungeons. But for the guild boss, you're kind of alright, but ideally you want to have 100%, right? So again, first 3 substats, you want to get crit rate, and that is how you move on forward. First 3 substats, you want to have that. And that is, you know, a part of the tips I want to give to players out there. Stop farming gold rift. Seriously, it's honestly a waste of your energy. It just doesn't make sense to me. The cost needed to be like half of this, so maybe 13 energy for the same amount of gold. I still don't consider it a worthwhile investment of this. Like 500 energy for 21 runs, I would get what, 60,000 gold times 21. Is that really worth it, comparing it to all those pieces of gear that could potentially be good? Yeah, the decision is quite obvious, I would say. This was the video, guys, for today. Thank you all. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.